Tick, 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 you hear that? That's the sound of now slipping into never. 35 seconds. That's all you get. Not 36. Not 35 and a half. And yet most of you still think time owes you something. Like it's some loyal pet that'll sit, stay, and wait for you to feel ready. But it won't. It's cruel like that, beautifully cruel. Blink too slow and it's gone. Hesitate once, and the whole thing vanishes like it never existed. Poof. Like a ghost that never believed in second chances time. What a sick little joke. It's there, ticking away, acting all innocent like it's just doing its job, but it's not neutral, no. It's a trickster, pretending to give you all this space, all this luxury to decide, to think, to breathe, and then boom, gone. Just like that. One moment you're standing on the edge of something that could change your entire life, and the next, it's ashes, a ghost, and you don't even remember what it looked like. That's the part that stings, not losing the chance, but forgetting how it felt to believe you might have actually taken it. See, most people walk around like time's their friend, like it's gonna hold their hand, whisper sweet affirmations in their ear, wait patiently while they finish one more episode, scroll one more post, take one more nap. But time's not your friend. It's not your therapist. It's not gonna sit there nodding its head while you list excuses in your best voice. No, time's a hitman in a suit, shows up, no warning, no mercy, and no rewinds. And when it leaves, it doesn't say goodbye, just disappears. Clean, cold. Finally, you've got people out here acting like they're promised something, like they've got contracts with the future. I'll start next week. I'm just waiting for the right moment. The right moment. Ah, what moment? You think the clock cares about your schedule, about your confidence. You think life's gonna send a memo saying, hey, we're ready for your greatness now. It doesn't work like that. The door creaks open for a second, barely a second, and if you're not already halfway through it, it slams, locks. And sometimes it never opens again. You ever feel that itch in your chest, that sudden heat in your gut like you've got to move now or something inside you might explode? That's not anxiety, that's urgency. That's the raw signal that something is calling you forward and you've got seconds to respond. But what do most do? They calm it down. They rationalize it. They smother it with logic and wait for a sign they already missed. Because signs don't stay lit forever. They blink, then they fade. Then you're standing there in the dark, holding your own doubt like it's a blanket. And let me tell you something about the ones who get it, the ones who feel it. They don't wait, they don't pray for clarity. They run with the blur, they chase the fog. They move while their knees still shake and their voices still crack because they understand the cost of delay. You want a guarantee. Here's one. If you pause too long, someone else who doesn't care about fear will take what you were waiting for. And you'll get to watch them live in the reality you dreamed about because they jumped while you journaled. But no, it's not fair. It's never been fair. Time's not a referee. It doesn't play by the rules. It shows up uninvited, says now and then counts down. You either answer or you vanish. You either break the pattern or become part of the background. And the most twisted part, you won't even realize how fast it went until you're already too late. That's when the silence sets in. That's when the what-ifs become permanent residents in your head. And they don't pay rent, they charge it. So what do you do when time knocks and doesn't wait for you to lace up your shoes? You move barefoot. You sprint through glass if you have to. Because if you wait until it makes sense, until it feels safe, you'll be left with nothing but well-written regrets. And nobody claps for those. Nobody rewinds for the ones who were too careful. Time wants hunger. It wants madness. It wants the kind of decision that scares you stupid because that's the only kind of move that shakes the ground enough to matter. Tick, 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 T. You still think you've got time. That's cute. Keep thinking. Just don't be surprised when the silence you're sitting in turns out to be the sound of a door that already closed. Hesitation. Ah, the sweet poison dressed in politeness. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It slides right in, smooth and calm, like a friend who tells you to just wait a little or think it through. And you do. You sit there. You analyze. You rehearse every possible outcome like life is a chessboard and you're some grandmaster. But while you're strategizing, guess what? The game's already over. Someone else moved. Someone else took the shot you were still lining up. Because hesitation doesn't protect you, it paralyzes you. While the moment bleeds out right in front of you, it's funny, isn't it? You know what you want. You feel it in your bones. But then doubt walks in like it owns the place. Starts asking questions. Starts poking holes. What if you fail? What if you're wrong? What will they think? And just like that, you trade momentum for fear, trade action for silence. You let the voice in your head convince you to stay still because still feels safer, still feels quieter. But what they never tell you is that stillness rusts. And rust doesn't heal, it spreads. You ever watch someone else live your idea, your dream? You see it online. Hear them speak. World clap. And deep down you know that was yours. That moment had your name on it. But you waited. You paused. You hesitated long enough for the universe to hand it to someone with less talent but more nerve. That's the cruel joke of it all. It's not about being the best. It's about being first. Being bold. Being foolish enough to jump before the ground confirms it's safe. See, everyone wants certainty. Proof. A guarantee. They want the road lit before they step. What if I told you the road only lights after you move? That life doesn't reveal the map, it hands you a match and dares you to strike it. But most people never light the match. Too scared to burn their fingers. Too scared to lose the comfort of darkness they've been living in. So they sit there in the cold, shivering beside opportunities they'll never touch because they were waiting for permission that was never coming. You think hesitation is harmless, like it's just a pause, a breather, but it's not. It's a thief, and it steals loud. It steals minutes that turn into hours, hours that turn into years, until one day you look back and realize your life isn't filled with failure, it's filled with unfinished beginnings. Things you never started, paths you never walked, dreams you locked in a closet because you were too polite to risk embarrassment. Then let me tell you, that closet, that's where dreams go to die, quietly, anonymously, and still you call it being responsible, being practical. What a beautiful mask for fear. You think being cautious is noble, that it'll earn you applause for being mature. But no one claps for hesitation. No one writes songs about the guy who almost tried. You don't get points for thinking about jumping. You get points for the bruise on your knee when you actually hit the ground. They'll never understand, the ones who play it safe. They'll never feel the high that comes from chaos. The adrenaline that pumps through your veins when you leap without knowing where you'll land. That's where the magic is, not in the plan and the plunge. And hesitation kills that. It keeps you grounded when your soul's already taken flight, and that, my friend, is the real tragedy. Not the failure. Not the risk. But the silence that comes from never even trying. So while you're waiting for clarity, someone else is building momentum. While you're practicing the speech, someone else is already on stage. While you're fixing your tie in the mirror, the curtain's already closed. That's what hesitation does. It convinces you that tomorrow will offer the same window, the same shot, the same energy. But it won't. Because moments aren't recycled. They don't do in cores. They vanish. They expire. And they never leave a note, but go ahead. Keep hesitating. Keep overthinking. Keep polishing the dream until it's too pretty to touch. Meanwhile, the world keeps moving. And time, oh, time doesn't flinch. It just keeps walking, dragging your abandoned moments behind it like old luggage. And when you finally stand up, when you're finally ready, you'll see it. That empty stage, that silent phone, that opportunity-shaped hole where your future used to live. And all because you paused when you should have pounced comfort. Now that's the real villain in this whole circus. Not fear. Not failure. No, fear at least tells you you're alive, but comfort. Comfort wraps its hands around your throat real slow, like a lover, like it cares, and then it squeezes until you forget you were ever meant for more. It's soft, seductive, soothing, a lullaby for your ambition. You sit there thinking you're fine, thinking you've got time, thinking the dream can wait because, hey, the bed's warm, the job's okay, the noise is manageable. And while you're lulled to sleep by that soft little lie, your fire's dying just a little more each day. People think comfort's the reward, the goal, the end game. They work their whole lives just to reach that point where nothing hurts, nothing pushes, nothing threatens. But comfort's not the reward, it's the trap. It convinces you to settle, to slow down, to play small. And the worst part, it makes you forget you're in a trap at all. You decorate it, make it cozy, call it stability. Meanwhile, everything wild and alive inside you starts to rot. Because wild things, they don't survive in cages. Even if the bars are made of gold, it's a funny little dance, isn't it? You wake up, do the same thing every day, and tell yourself this is fine. You've got food, a roof, a routine. But deep down, something's clawing at you. You feel it in the pit of your gut when you're stuck in traffic. In the silence right before you fall asleep. That whisper, that itch, that ache that says this can't be all there is. But comfort is quick to hush it. Gives you another distraction, another excuse. Another day to say later to the voice that keeps trying to wake you up. You don't get to break anything from the safety of the couch. Revolutions don't start in recliners. Miracles don't happen in the snooze button. Everything worth doing, worth being, demands discomfort, demands risk, demands chaos. But nobody tells you that. They sell you this idea that life should feel good all the time. That happiness means no pain, no pressure, no panic. But I'll let you in on a secret. If your dreams don't scare you, stupid, they're not dreams. They're just furniture. Pretty things to admire from a distance while you rot in routine. Comfort has you believing that not bad is good enough, that as long as it's not falling apart, it's fine. But fine is the enemy of great. Fine is the quicksand you don't notice until it's up to your neck. It lulls you with mediocrity, pats your head while your soul screams for something real. But here's the kicker: the longer you stay comfortable, the harder it becomes to move. Muscles atrophy, vision fades, you forget what it felt like to burn. And when you finally wake up and want to run, your legs don't remember how, but oh, comfort is clever. It makes you think you're being smart, responsible, mature. You're saving money, you're avoiding risk, you're keeping it safe. But what you're really doing, you're dying slowly, quietly, respectably. You're writing your own eulogy in small, cautious steps. And all the wild, messy, electric pieces of you that were born to shake the world, you've buried them beneath weighted blankets and polite routines. You think it's courage to stay put, to hold it all together. But the real courage is walking away from the good to chase the great. It's stepping into the fire not because it's safe, but because you must. Because something inside you refuses to die quietly. You think people will cheer when you take that leap. They won't. They'll panic. They'll tell you to calm down, to be realistic, to be grateful, because your courage reminds them of their own chains. And nothing scares the comfortable more than the sight of someone breaking free, but still, most won't move. They'll stay in the nice job, the okay relationship, the almost dream, because comfort doesn't hurt until it does. Until one day you look in the mirror and see someone who looks like you but isn't. Someone dimmer, smaller, tamer. And you'll wonder where the fire went, where the madness went, where you went. And the answer: you never left, you just got comfortable. Overthinking, yes, the art of spinning in circles while the world burns around you. People love to wear it like some badge of intelligence. I'm just analyzing, they say, weighing the options. But what they don't realize is that thinking too much is just fear in a tuxedo, Dressed up real smart, sipping logic like champagne while life throws a grenade at your feet. And instead of running, you sit there calculating the blast radius, wondering if the shrapnel will scratch your carefully constructed plan. The irony? While you're busy trying to avoid the explosion, you end up swallowing it whole. It's not brilliance. It's hesitation with a thesaurus. Every second spent in thought as a second life slips past your fingers like smoke. But hey, let's call it being cautious. Let's make it noble. Let's pretend that if we just think hard enough, the world will hand us a perfect answer. But that's the joke, isn't it? There is no perfect. No map. No instructions. No pretty little bow that wraps the chaos. You either move or you rot. But overthinkers, they rot with style. With spreadsheets. With plans A through Z and a few backup alphabets. You ever meet someone who talks circles around themselves? Every time they get close to a decision, they find a new angle, a new problem, a new scenario that might happen. They drown in what-ifs like it's a luxury spa, as if life gives you points for avoiding mistakes. It doesn't. Life rewards the bold, the messy, the ones who leap while the overthinkers are still calculating the wind speed. Because while the brain spins, the gut knows, the gut screams. But overthinking tells the gut to shut up and sit down while the brain draws another diagram. Overthinking is the slowest form of self-sabotage. It doesn't stab you, it drains you. Minute by minute, thought by thought, until you're exhausted by decisions you never even made. And by the time you decide, the moment's gone, the door's shut, and all you're left with is a pile of broken thoughts and mischances dressed as wisdom. Because it felt smart, didn't it? Not acting, being careful, waiting. But really it was fear whispering. Don't risk, don't jump, don't live. And you listened. You always do. Funny thing is, most overthinkers aren't scared of failure, they're scared of responsibility. Because if they choose, then they're to blame. But if they delay, they get to blame time, circumstance, the stars, anything but themselves. So they analyze until it's too late, then shrug like victims. But they're not victims, they're architects of their own prisons. And those prisons, they're padded with options, decorated with possibilities, soundproofed with excuses. You know who doesn't overthink? The desperate, the hungry, the ones with nothing left to lose. They don't care about being right, they care about moving. And that's the difference. Overthinking is a luxury for the comfortable, the ones who have enough cushion to waste time pretending they're being strategic. Meanwhile, the clock doesn't care. The world doesn't wait. And life laughs. Because while you were sketching the perfect moment, someone dumber, louder, braver took what was supposed to be yours. But hey, keep pretending thinking harder is the answer. Keep convincing yourself the reason you haven't moved yet is because you're too smart to act without a plan. Meanwhile, the world's being built by people who don't think they do. They throw punches, miss wildly, fall, and get up swinging. And you're in the corner polishing your gloves. That's the truth about overthinking. It's not intelligence. It's fear dressed. Like discipline even when the gut screams, go now. The overthinker says, wait, just one more angle, one more simulation, one more Sam. But that voice gets quieter every time you ignore it. Until one day it stops. And all you're left with is the echo of what could have been bouncing off the walls of your skull while you try to solve a puzzle chart. You'll call it wisdom, maturity, control, but deep down you'll know. You'll feel it. That hollow ache where the fire used to live. That silence that only comes when you've outthought your own soul. But go ahead. Keep playing mental gymnastics. Keep building castles in your mind while the real world moves without you. Just remember the mind is a maze, and if you stay in too long, you forget there was ever an exit. They don't need to know. That's the part that drives them crazy. That silence, your silence, is louder than any scream. You move different when you keep things to yourself, quiet. controlled, dangerous. See, people panic when they can't read you. When they can't predict your next step, they start filling in the blanks with their own yurt, their own fears, their own twisted little projections. But you keep walking. No announcements, no updates, just motion. And that motion, that unpredictability, rattles the cages they built for you people worshipers. They think if it's not on display, it's not real. They post every plan, every emotion, every half-baked thought that drips out of their skulls. Because they need the validation. They need the applause. They need to be seen. But you're past that. You know the real power isn't in being seen, it's in being missed. Being noticed only when you choose. That's when the silence becomes a weapon. Not because you're hiding, but because you're hunting. You ever see a storm coming? Not the thunder, not the lightning. Just that eerie calm right before everything explodes. That's what silence is. That's what you become when you don't broadcast your every move. A storm with no forecast. And they hate that. They want your plans out in the open so they can poke holes, give advice you never asked for, and pretend like they know better. But if they don't know, they can't control. They can't contaminate. They can't interfere. It's funny. You keep quiet, and suddenly everyone thinks you're either plotting something or falling apart. They don't know which scares them more, because when you disappear even for a little while, they start whispering. They start wondering, and in that wondering you win. You occupy their minds without saying a word. That's leverage. That's power. The less they know, the more they guess. And guessing burns energy. Waste is time. While you're already 10 steps ahead, the world doesn't deserve access to every corner of your mind. It hasn't earned the right to understand your process. Some things are sacred. Some things are still yours. And when you protect your moves, you protect your momentum. It's not about secrecy. It's about sovereignty, control, not letting your direction be diluted by noise. You think kings announce every step before they make it? No, they strike. Hard and without warning. When you move in silence, you strip away the need for applause. You stop feeding on the attention of people who wouldn't lift a finger to help you climb, but are always the first to talk when you fall. Let them.